Every Tuesday and every Thursday.
Hey,
Tap in.
is this thing on? Can you hear me?
Roy
Is anybody
Anthony
out
Show
there?
is the spot to be, baby.
Hey, tune in.
It's the hottest show, homie, on the West Coast. The Roy Anthony Show. It's the hottest show, homie, on the West Coast. The Roy Anthony Show. It's the hottest show, homie, on the West Coast. The Roy Anthony Show. And it's featuring the homie Big Hank and Christina Carter. It's the hottest show, homie, on the West Coast. The Roy Anthony Show. It's the hottest show, homie, on the West Coast. The Roy Anthony Show. It's the hottest show, homie, on the West Coast. The Roy Anthony Show. And it's featuring the co-host Big Hank and Christina Carter. It's the hottest show, homie, on the West Coast. Everybody tune in, you dig it? It's funny as hell, my dude. It's when we can kick every Tuesday. Everything is going down. Thursday. They about to do the most. It ain't a confrontation, it's a conversation, homie. Yo, on the weekends, Roy Anthony Show. It's during the week, homie. The Roy Anthony Show. What you listening to? Roy Anthony Show. Come on and get a tap in before we gotta tap in. What you listening to? The Roy Anthony Show. Every Tuesday. Come on and kick it with us. The Roy Anthony Show. Every Thursday. It's going down, homeboy. The Roy Anthony Show. Co-host tap in. Big Hank. We getting it. What you think? Hey. It's the hottest show, homie, on the West Coast. The Roy Anthony Show. It's the hottest show, homie, on the West Coast. The Roy Anthony Show. It's the hottest show, homie, on the West Coast. The Roy Anthony Show. And it's featuring the homie Big Hank and Christina Carter. It's the hottest show, homie, on the West Coast. The Roy Anthony Show. It's the hottest show, homie, on the West Coast. The Roy Anthony Show. It's the hottest show, homie, on the West Coast. The Roy Anthony Show. And it's featuring the co-host Big Hank, Christina Carter.
What it do? What it do? What it do? Hey, once again, this is Roy Anthony coming live through the Whoa Entertainment. I'll be coming in pretty soon. My co-stars will be coming in. Big Hank, coming from Long Beach, California. That's where I reside. But a lot of people know that I'll be in Kansas City, Kansas at times because my mother stays in Kansas City, Kansas, and I care about my mom, so I'll go back and forth. She doesn't like to be back in LA. She was born and raised there. She fell in love with Kansas City and that part right there. Then we're coming live through the Whoa Entertainment, which is a platform to recognize how our military veterans was coming back to America with an all-time suicide rates. And this was created by no other than Richie King, aka Redneck Pimp, co-creator Goose. Then we have our associate producers, Blue Phoenix. We got my man Athens. We got my man Mr. Brooks. Yeah, I'm calling for who they are. You know who Whoa Entertainment is. And we also want to give a shout out to the BB Nation. I am the Roy Anthony. I'm a stand-up comedian, philosopher by trade, civil designer. It seems like I never get the respect though as being a civil designer as much as I do with my stand-up comedy. You know, you had to have something fall upon. I was a person who wasn't going to sell dope, so I sold my imagination on how to build and became a designer using AutoCAD, MicroStation, and everything. But once again, I am comedian Roy Anthony. A lot of people like to consider me a philosopher at times. I can understand that. And, now the Roy Anthony Show is not based on we're just doing comedy. I'm not doing stand-up comedy. We be having a conversation. Sometimes it's humorous. Sometimes we get angry. Sometimes we melancholy about something, Our topics is today's topics discussed with intellect and humor. And we always let people know it's not a confrontation. It's a conversation. Sometimes we let other outlets speak for certain people. So when we don't have no type of ways of communication. First, I also want to give a shout out to the people's birthdays in March because it's really deep effectively for me. My son's birthday was March the 8th. He turned 18. My brother's birthday was March the 9th. I'm not gonna state his birth. My daughter's birthday will be March the 19th. My auntie birthday, well, my daughter will be 14, and my auntie, who will be 80 tomorrow, and then my mentor, Mr. James, who will be 75 on March the 20th. And man, I was like, wow, there's a lot of people. Even some more relatives. I would have to look through the thing. Sometimes I'm glad that Facebook reminds me of people's birthday because there's so much that there's so much other things to talk about and think about. I wish everyone happiness to see another year. With how chaotic our world is, if it's your birthday or this is your birthday month, I just want to tell you, I wish you happy birthday. May God bless you continuously. And you'll notice that me and Big Hank and Christina Carter, who is coming from Clarksville, Mississippi, as you can see that we're around the U.S. We have different guests that comes in. Miss Woody be coming in from St. Louis. I'll be missing Miss Moore. Haven't heard from her here in a couple of shows. We have a lot of people been hitting us up from Germany, from the what's that, Australia, and to those who like, if you missed the show, you can always know that you can go look it back on Facebook under Roy Anthony or the Woe Entertainment, which is WOENT, or you can go on YouTube and look under comedian Roy Anthony or go under Woe Entertainment on there. Now, I decided that I want to be onto a subject, right? One of the things that really trips me out is some people feel like it's hard to have a discussion. We're not making fun. I don't want to hear about people's relationships. I don't want to go into none of that. I want to be able to.
Some people feel like it's hard to.
I want to be able to do the things that, how can I say, to where I'm gonna get this out too, because I want to go to what our subject was today. And our subject is deep. It says, do you find yourself just putting out words, or are you speaking with actions? Dean said, hey Roy, hey, what's up, Dean Stern? I can't stand when people just always got some cliche or something to say, something, Dr. Williams, who is the leader of St. Luke's Holy Baptist Church in Westside Long Beach, only one of the real people that I will listen to, because I'm not into talk. I'm into actions. I've been through over in the state of Missouri. Missouri carries a state moniker as their show me state, meaning really you don't have to explain nothing to me. We're gonna go by your actions. Dr. Williams, what really caught my ear with him is he gave me he didn't say it to me, he was saying it to the congregation, but it seemed like it just stuck with me, that a wise man has something to say. A foolish man just want to say something. And when I looked at that, hold up, one of our co-stars is in. What's up with you, Miss Christina Carter?
Hey, how you doing?
Right. And so every time you come on the show, you traveling somewhere and stuff.
Yeah.
How to get it? I love your hair.
Thank you.
We saw
Life
you.
of a single parent.
Yes, yeah. Some people commented to me one time. They had sent me a private message. They was like, "Hey, She just do her hair. I said, this isn't where we're in the studio. It's a conversation. We're
Right.
going out where, she's coming in the car. There's been times I've been in the car with Big Hank be in front of the church or he's at his house, you know what I'm saying? Because we're having a conversation. Am I correct?
Right.
Um, I like what Dean said. The day subject is, do you ever find yourself just saying words and it doesn't show any actions?
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? He said, last month, you can have an opinion just to have an opinion. You're letting your feelings or knowledge be known. Exactly. You know, when I was just saying that a leader of the leader, Dr. Williams, said that a wise man has something to say, a foolish man just want to say something. You ever been talking to someone, Christina, and you having a decent conversation, you kicking it with someone, and y'all having a like you've been delivered conversation, like when you went out to Washington, right? You had a uplifting, positive talk. Does it ever affect you when somebody who comes way out of left field with something that doesn't pertain to nothing, to do anything, and then they butt all in your conversation? You ever been through that?
Yeah, I have. Because some people, you can't expect everybody to think or perceive things the way you do.
Mm.
So you gonna get that. You can't expect the you out of everybody. So sometimes you have to either water down what you're saying so they can understand what you're saying in order to get what you think should come out of that conversation with the next person.
Hey, do you ever find, like, I be finding myself, you ever look back at the shows what we have, like each every day, the next day I always watch the show that we had the day prior.
Mm,
And I find myself making sure that I follow through with the things that I've been saying. Oh, that's really this me. That is me.
yeah.
Was it snowing down there in Clarksville? I know it ain't snowing in Mississippi, is it?
It was day before yesterday. It only
Was
snowed
it?
for a day and then it went away. But now, little ice falling now with the rain.
I know I'm looking out in the background like y'all look like y'all getting snow
It's
in
little
Michigan.
ice.
Wow. And so, well, you be safe out there too. I know sometimes you got to take care of your business. If you move to your mic, I understand. You hear me say something if you had to take care of some business, okay?
Okay.
Um, Big Hank will be coming in pretty soon. I want to get on this subject though, Christina. I want to get on this subject about uh, how people talk and they're talking. We have a lot of our politicians doing that, doing a lot of talking, and I don't see no actions. I see more
That's what they do.
disturbance.
Uh, that's what they do though. Like when you campaigning and stuff for them, they'll say, "Oh, I'm gonna make the city this and city that, and I'm gonna fix the holes in the road and all that stuff." But when push comes to shove, and you want to see they actions behind that what they're saying, you don't see it. You only see them people doing campaigning time. After that, you don't even see them. You don't even hear from them. They don't even recognize you or nothing. So that's what
They
they
ain't
do.
even knocking at your door. At first, they was knocking at your
Nothing.
door to get you registered.
Exactly.
Hey, that's a
They
good
mission
example.
accomplished.
I'm glad you said that too, because that's just what some of them say something just to get the love of it, right?
Yep.
And then all of a sudden, once they get in where they need to be, we don't see no actions. I say a lot of that for our churches too, especially
Yeah.
a lot of the black churches. I mean, I don't see where's the growth.
It's
I'm
not.
gonna be honest, huh?
It's not
It's,
any growth. It's a handful of people in churches
yeah.
now.
You know what gets me? Because you know why? Because it gets to a point. Now, I'm gonna tell you something that really bugs me. It's when I see a church and it's all neatly done and the yard is manicured well and everything around it, the neighborhood looks just as junky. And you know what I'm talking about? Have you ever seen that?
It's more of a show. It's not. They're not. They're not showing what they're talking about. They're just making noise. Because if you got a big church in a neighborhood
You're breaking up, Christina. It's probably because you're driving. Christina got stuck. I'm gonna take her off until she gets back on. I could see her in the background. She started driving. So what she was saying is that, I've seen these mega churches, some big churches. And wait a minute, she's coming back. Uh, I
I'm
see
going
like
through some areas where the lines are down.
yeah, I
But
just said that you probably, but go ahead. What was you saying?
it's like they take up offering for things. They want people to come to the church, but then that lets you know it's not about the church anymore. It's about what they can get. So it's like they pimping the people now. It's like you pimping the people because you're not exercising what you're saying you're raising this money for. Because if you got this big church in a neighborhood, a hood neighborhood, and everybody, the streets are nasty, just this one little spot is y'all church is neatly done. Then what do you think? What are you saying about your community? These people that's coming to your church.
That's my point. Look, Dean just said it's easier to look good than truly be good. Now, Dean, the only word I don't like on that statement is easier, because it's if you got a good heart or you got good intentions, it should just flow like water. You have to devise evilness. When someone goes to rob a bank, they always have a getaway. You got a strategicness on how they're going to enter the bank, how they're going to operate, how much time, which way. That's now right. Easy. I'm a good person. I'm going in there because I got an account. I find that easy because I walk right in there, fill out my withdrawal slip, get my money the right way. It's people's concepts. I've heard people say, "Well, I'm gonna do them before they do me," but this has nothing to do with. Okay, I was listening to you, Christina, and the definition. The definition, there's ignorance, and then there's foolishness. Ignorance is if you don't know. That's why they would say ignorance is bliss. If you don't know, then there's a reason. Now, once you learned, you can't go past ignorant. You can't use ignorant no more. That's a one-time situation. Now you
Right,
continue
right.
to do the same things that was considered ignorant at one time. Now it's foolish because you know better.
Yeah, you make choices after that.
And this is when I don't feel for. I feel like, okay, you're a politician. You ran for this because you know what it takes to be and what that politician person supposed to do. But if you're sitting up there talking and um you and nothing's getting done, you just as worse as the person you was campaigning against. Dean said he wanted to correct himself. He said, let me rephrase that. It's easier to put up a facade than it is to build a good building with a strong foundation. Now I agree with that, Dean. See, I was talking with someone earlier today. A lot of people don't understand is that the mega churches triumph like this during the crack pandemic. A lot of people wanted to um um and you can put your until you want to say something, put your on mute because we can hear you driving. You can hear us clear, yes or no, right? With your head. You can hear us, right, Miss Christina. She's driving, she single parent and a business lady. A lot of people say, hey, I see a lot of stuff from Miss Christina Carter, so we don't never stop from her to still take her on to be on the show while she's being her a single parent duty and an entrepreneur, because I'm serious about getting some of these candles too. And that's the thing too. Now you just brought up a point, Dean, that I was going to relate upon. You said the churches are tax free too, right? Let me tell you something. What really got me is that during the stimulus, and former President Trump was allocating out money for the stimulus, the general people who made under 100,000 was getting $1,200. People over 100,000 was getting bigger stimulus. The one that got me is that when the churches, when they was allocating the stimulus money, former President Trump gave the churches $7.3 billion. $7.3 billion. Now, to my understanding, the churches are ran by tithes and offerings. This is how you've been calculating all the tithes and offerings. Let me tell you something. If I had a little church and I got 10 people giving me $10 a week, that's $100. I don't have to pay no credit. Now, if they want to jump up and they feel like, okay, I'm helping church, and they want to give $100. Now, I got 10 people giving $100. That's $1,000 a week. And I don't have to pay no taxes on. So I could not understand for the life of me, how do the churches get $7.3 billion to allocate amongst themselves? So some people try to counter to me, of all people, well, they had to pay their staff and everything. To my understanding, those are voluntary positions. If you get a thank you with a little offering note, there it is. Our whole country is in God we trust, but it's not on a group situation. It's an individual situation. I don't see why me and Dean and Christina and Redneck Pimp and Big Hank couldn't took a portion of the $7.3 billion without feeling guilty that we're robbing God, because we're not. Oh, he said, think was anyone under, correct me too. You think was anyone under 100K got 1,200, over 100K, they got nothing, but they got PPP loans. Okay, if they were business owners and mortgage reprieves. Okay. And I can understand that because someone's earning money, but we're not talking about nonprofit organizations. A nonprofit organization as a church is trying to help you get your soul right. It's to teach me how to have good morals and ethics. But if I'm seeing that, oh, okay, so why is the communities suffering if the church has got 7.3 billion? Not 7.3 million. They got 7.3 billion. Hey, look, I thought the same thing, Dean. I think the churches were supposed to use that money to help the congregation with food drives and humanitarian stuff. I think so too, but you know what? I think I've been leaning that it's been laundered. It's been laundered for real. I'm saying, okay, during the pandemic, this was given during the stimulus. They didn't even have people come to church. With $7.3 billion, you think that you should be able to get to church and get a COVID test and have a doctor check you out. They wouldn't even have in church. They streaming like this.
But you got to think about it too, though. Like, when I said earlier about them pimping the people in the church, what I mean by that is, like, sometimes in them churches they'll be like, well, I'm gonna take up an offering, I'm gonna put in 100, who can match the $100? And then they call people out by name and be like, oh yeah, they're gonna sow $100. See, then they'll go down to $50. They recognize all them people. Then after you get down to the $20, then they go to whatever you got to sow in, to get your blessings, you can put that in. They don't recognize those people, and that's not how God works.
But
You
see, them
don't
people,
have to do that.
yeah, but the people that feels that, because I tell them, like, you'll never call my name, dude, because as far as they know, I'm getting $1 because I rely upon God. Then the
So you
see,
can't get blessed unless you put in this monetary offering.
well, I tell
That's
them that
not
they're
right.
lie. They're lie. You got blessed when you woke up this morning. You got blessed when you had something to eat. I may not be eating prime roast or something like Matt Brooks and them was cooking, but oatmeal is better than no meal. So that's a blessing. So the thing is, I like what, like Dean said, it's supposed to have food drive. This is what St. Luke's Holy Baptist Church in West Side Long Beach, where Big Hank was working at. They don't measure us up. They knew that we came up from the streets and everything. I'm pretty sure Dean ain't no in the priesthood or anything. We've all fall short. But it's like Dean said. He said, okay, and Dean, you're right. I was rethinking about what you said, and and you know what? It is easy. It's easy to be where you ever been in a situation, Christina, where somebody is calling you out and everything, and you know what? You decide to be the better person because it was easy to bust that person in the head.
Plenty of times. That's daily for me.
It was your restraint. And you know what? I want to say that. Then you know what? Don't rephrase it because you're right. It's easy to be where I can just go toe to toe and eye for an eye, but it's a little harder to put restraints on yourself. He said, I think I fall on the other side of that spectrum. Look, I always tell people I'm a heathen. Now I have grace. I believe in Christ, and I believe in the spiritual God. I don't care about what other people says or whatever. I'm not knocking them. I'm not judging. I don't have a heaven or hell to put you in. You sure don't have one to put me in. Only man can do is destroy this body. Why all of a sudden Woe Entertainment asked me a year and a half ago, hey, me and Big Hank been working as a duo since 2018. Then Woe Entertainment calls us. So we say, hey, good day, Raymond Trueblood. Good day, Richard Bro. And I always think that things are done with God's intervention because I prayed. And he said, let's do this. So then first when we started the Roy Anthony show, we started it as we had different celebrity friends and we're interviewing and learning about other people. But then somebody said to me, hey man, I wish I had a voice to say something. That's what triggered it off. Just before you, Christina, they said, I wish I had a voice to be able to say something. And I said, you can say something. Then I meet Christina Carter, who is blessed with a beautiful voice. She's so comfortable now. She rolling and talking. She didn't know what to say at first, and now she's sitting up there on other podcasts, speaking and everything, being recognized, and a single parent. And I ain't talking about no little babies, them teenagers who think they know everything. I tell my teenage son, your generation ain't doing nothing. My generation X, we the ones who came up with hip hop. We came up with the cell phones, pagers, dress styles, confidence, and stuff. We got away from that. Yes, boss. I ain't into all that. For real. I can ride with Dean. I can ride with Raymond as long as, hey, they got respect for themselves. They're going to respect me. I'm going to respect them because I respect myself. If we ain't on the same page and it seems like, oh, they into some activities I'm not into, I distant myself. I'm confident enough to don't have to worry about peer pressure. If we cool, then we cool. I roll with you till the wheels fall off. And anybody knows I got white brothers, sisters, black brothers, sisters, Asian, Latinos. Now, sometimes I seem like I'm probably seeming attackful to certain things. I just don't like unhumanitarian shit. I don't like someone to act like they so angelic Oh Lord, hear my cry. And then you just as foul on the side. You know, everybody don't see what everybody's doing when you're by yourself. I used to have to fight against, you know, um, looking at nasty pictures. Something I fight with. They call that lust. I'm not gonna run out with my. I see a beautiful woman run out naked and like ah. I got more cool. Generation X raised our damn selves. That's why we can be cordial and grateful, but we're just a little bit feral. Laugh all out. Look, look, we had to do something for ourselves. These kids nowadays is privileged. I'm not saying that young people that's under age of 28 and under are privileged. My kids don't know what it is to use a rotary phone. I had a tape recorder that I showed my daughter when she was 12. Remember them old box, looked like a rectangle tape recorder? I showed, she said, "What is this? Is this a component to your computer?" I said, "No, it's a tape recorder."
I tried to tell one of my boys about he be trying to rap to them girls on the phone. I said, "Boy, you don't know nothing about those radios where you trying to record them songs and you put the tape in or use tape and you stick the paper in there to re-record over it."
Exactly.
I said, "You don't know nothing about that.
They
You
don't
know,
know nothing about that.
you hold it up, the phone up to the radio and you're singing to them like that kind of
Yep.
thing. They don't know nothing about their life. They got the easy life now."
We do too. He said, I won that what is because I still have an encyclopedia downstairs that was printed in like the 50s or 60s. Oh, he has a encyclopedia set. And so because kids don't know, Dean, that we used to have to use encyclopedia to write your research paper. We couldn't find out what was going on in Antarctica or on the Serengeti unless you looked up on the encyclopedia. Now you could got it right there. I tell my partners, there's no way that I'm gonna debate with you on anything when I can just look it up. Who has the most home runs? Who shot more free throws? We live in a data era. And this is why I say that we got to change our charters. Our charters goes back when we were still riding horses into a town. Look who's running the Congress. Hey, thanks, Raymond. He said, "Have an outstanding day, brother." Hey, do the same, man. Anytime anybody want to say something, you know, I tell people, you may not agree with me or may agree with me or partially agree with me. It's just a conversation. I'm not saying I'm right. I'm saying this is my opinion. I got two other people. Sometimes we don't agree. Our head producer, sometimes we don't agree. He done woke me up about some things. I apparently done woke him up about some things. Our neighbors and everything. We let the media. We're in a war. We're involving ourselves in a war that has nothing to do with us. But it causes more division. Dean funny, Christina. He said, you say Google to a kid in the 80s and then look at you like you got fish crawling out of your ears. He'd be like, Google? Is like, where? You remember when you was a kid? I was a kid and we didn't have the PlayStations and everything. We'd be traveling out of town. We would see a Volkswagen. We would say slug bug and stuff, right? And then whoever got more slug bugs within an hour or so. You know what I'm saying? We would do that. We would make images out the clouds.
My
This is
kids
what we,
do that. My kids do that now. and they bite their finger when they go into a passing by a grave and all that to keep from pointing at the grave. They'll hold their finger and
Wait a
they'll
minute,
bite
y'all
their
done
finger
broke
and
out
hold their
some.
breath.
What's a
That's what they do. What you do, Isaiah?
We hold our breath when we passing by them. We see something red or we touch something red. We let go our breath and breathe when we
So
pass.
they only safe way to not to stop holding their breath if they can touch something red at that time, and that excuses them from passing the grave and all that stuff. They got so
Hey,
much
well, you know,
misconceptions.
well, tell them, Roy Anthony, old heathen. I don't believe in none of those superstitions. Matter of fact, when I was a teenager, I used to walk through the graveyard because it was a shortcut to my house. Everybody else would go around the block. I would walk right through the graveyard and then look at a tombstone like, dang, this dude was born in 1918, and count how many years of me standing there like, wow. You know, Dean said, yep, believe it or not, we used to count dead deer on the side of the road. I mean, that's to pacify your time. Kids now think that they're so smart because they got all the answers all within their hands. All within there. And the thing is that this what gets me. I was waiting for Big Hank to come on. I want to bring this up. You know that we all been going through everybody's been talking about the war and the war in Ukraine, but I want them to understand this. Before I bring this up, I got something I wanted to share to my head producer Richie King because he always teases me about some things, right? But there's some questions I need to ask. I need to ask some people. One of the things though is that I was looking at this. This is a conversation piece. The View, that's with Whoopi Goldberg and all them, wants the Department of Justice to probe Tucker Carlson and Tulsi for Russian propaganda. Now, I don't know if they've been listening to my show, but they are asking because I'm gonna take this off. I'm gonna stop sharing something with y'all because this was amazing to me that Russia is only showing anything from America is conversation from Tucker Carlson's podcast or his television show, whichever one. And everyone knows I've been calling Tucker Carlson out, not because of his views, because I think it's very interesting. I know his makeup and his get downs. I'm not worried about having that many people. I don't concern myself on that. But what I concern myself, Dean, he said that started with Mitt Romney wants them investigated, but Tulsi came with receipts. And but what I'm talking about though, Dean, is that I'm talking about as us as the United States. In my personal family, sometimes on the holidays we all get together. Sometimes there's a rift. I don't know if anybody has a family where every day from that morning to evening everything went smooth with no arguments or no discontent or anything. Not in my family. But when we leave that household, there's two things. We don't carry over what happened inside the house, outside the house, because it's really not adamant for everyone to know what happened inside your house. And second, if you mess with one of them and the call is made, no matter how we didn't get along in the house, it'd be damned if you met somebody on the outside mess with us. I don't know if that makes sense to anyone. Well, even though we have our flaws in America, we still ride with each other when it comes down to our military. This platform was created to bring awareness to our veterans that commit suicide. They didn't say, oh, our white veterans or our black veterans. Or they said our veterans. So we had to talk about things. But some people make it murky. And the way I look at it, it's like you taking advantage when people saying, well, some of the whites seem very privileged. Tucker Carlson to me seems very privileged. And the Spirit of God had to let me know that he's not talking for 1 million people. He's talking to 1 million people. It's like a comedian who says things that the audience can't say, but they thought about wanting to say it, and it makes it funny. Tucker Carlson, though, seems to speak against what America has agreed to go with. You so influential with all the politicians and all that. Republicans and Democrats, which I don't believe in none of all that. Y'all know that. I believe that we need to start enacting the second paragraph of the Declaration of Independence, if you was to ask me, when this government fails you. It's been failing us for the past 15, 20 years. You're a selfish individual if you just think about yourself and not thinking about how it affects your neighbors. You're a selfish individual. I don't care what someone says. I'm tired of trying to make me feel like, okay, January 6th is nothing. I can't live with that because I've been in a city where another person who's affiliated with somebody didn't do this crime, didn't do no crime, but they was considered an accessory just by knowledge of it. But I see 800 people, not all whites. I see blacks in there. Most, to me, them some dumb individuals, because you know where our status quo sits, and you think you just as good enough to walk up into the Capitol building. And I still say this. Everybody who went into that Capitol building should be charged 3 crimes. I've dug it up, I've looked it up and everything. I'm gonna read what Dean said, then I'm gonna tell y'all what I've said the 3 crimes should be. See, here's the deal with the media. They flip every 4 years. One side loves the politician in office and the other side hates them. Then they flip again. It's all BS. Absolutely. Our government is failing us. Okay, look here. January 6th. 3 crimes I felt like. And I think that, and I said that if we should do a national poll and let the American people speak, because these people felt that they could speak for all of us. The right way is to do like I did. I went and voted to make sure everything was right. And I had to go, I made sure everything was right on my registration. I went and voted the proper way. Did that, went on about my business. Who won? Because where I grew up, I'm gonna have to do what I got to do regardless. But everybody who went through the January 6th, I feel there's 3 crimes. And I really believe this. There's dead people laying there by the fences and laying around, and you still walked over there. Then that, to me, is attempted murder or accessory to murder. That should be the lowest part, accessory to murder. Well, I didn't know it was dead. Well, you seen a body laying there. You think these police was relentless? No, you kept the lady. They just gave a lady 2 weeks and 2 years, 3 years probation. She said, yeah, I seen some people laying over there, but I wasn't by them. I just went, you accessory to murder. For real. Lucifer didn't look like a witchy poo when he walked up to Eve. He was like, she'd been like, oh, he was smooth with it. Hey, I don't have no problems with you. That's what I'm saying. Then I didn't have no problem with them having to stop the steal. I didn't have no problems with that. I found it interesting. I was like, wow, I ain't never seen this. But when you take it in yourself, and I want to say this, because I ain't said my other two crimes. I want to say this. George Washington told his troops charge, and he shows him in the boat of the Potomac headed to war, and he didn't say let me off right here. He went on to war. Former President Trump said charge, and he said I'm going to the bunkers. and look, they're all in their rights to protest. That's what we've been saying. But then, you come to a peaceful protest about senseless murders by the police department, and we're heathens and want to break into buildings and take all the jury and take a whoop, whoop, whoop. But you go into the capital of the U.S. with your protesting to try to take over the government. And I really want to know what you think that me and my group of people, what we was going to do. If y'all was to take over, well, guess what? You think we was going to let you be over me? I'm following in the democracy ways. The second crime that I feel, the second crime should be terroristic threats. These people are walking through the rotunda yelling, kill Pence, kill Nancy Pelosi, kill the different ones. They had strategicness. These are all terroristic threats. Now, the third thing that I had to dig it up and research and everything, and any lawyer, anybody can tell you that I'm correct on this. Ever since I was a kid, I was always told, you don't speak against your country. You don't do this and that. That's considered treason. And being found guilty of treason is to be shot. That spooked me because I don't want to get shot, especially about a country in a land where my whole family and my friends and family members more and more are living. So we learn to respect the U.S. We don't like it, so we protest when we're getting shot. I don't see none of these police officers who want to kill innocent people. They should be put out on the front line when that war starts. Since you want to shoot, it's different when the rabbit has a gun. You want to shoot an innocent person, talking about you think they have a gun. Well, now you can go over there and face some people who you know they have a gun. Let's see how well you do. Take some advice from some of our veterans who's been over there and facing this type of situations. I must have said something true. We have a cockashoon. He's in the back. Speak it. Look here, and then you are absolutely right. And this is what this podcast is about. It was put on my heart, and I'm talking to the whole world. I'm not ashamed. I'm comedian Roy Anthony. You can Google me, Google Roy Anthony. I'm just talking facts because when I be on I can't do my stand-up without having facts. I don't feel sympathy to none of them people who felt like they was above the law. You don't feel sympathy for us when we felt it's above the law. And that's why I don't like the media. Blacks make up 13.5% of the media, of the United States, but the media always purports one person who did a crime, 2,000 crimes. But yes, you identify one black waiting for it. They come in the neighborhoods, something will happen on. They go to find the worst depictable person. Intelligent person like myself and Big Hank, Christina Carter, you can get a conversation with Dean and Richie and all that. They want to put constraints. Want to flag me on Facebook. say something on Facebook on this and that, man. For real. And it ain't Mark Zuckerberg and all them. This is Clooney, somebody who takes a deal. I want you to concentrate on Roy and flag him anytime he say anything. I'm not scared. We living in that time. It ain't gonna get better. Well, made me laugh because it's been ordained. So many people will, when Christ comes, well, we're gonna see whose oils is filled, whose vax is oil, who's full of oil. Can't be half-stepping. Nobody didn't know that we actually, we talked about Ukraine and all that, but we didn't know, a lot of people didn't know. Thank God for the New York Times to let us know that we over there fighting some of the Samoa people over there too. He said, Dean says, because they know they can get a rise out of people, gives them more material to report. White guy gets shot by the cops, and we're like, man, probably shouldn't have done that. I seen the white guys be like, hey, if you can rush the Capitol. I was listening, I was reading the testimony of this young dude, the 18-year-old, him and his he turned his father in because his father was threatening the family. His sister and mother and them don't say nothing. If you was doing it right, sir, why would you be concerned with? That's not a patriarch if you got to hide it. I don't see nothing patriotic if I got to hide behind my actions. I don't know. I guess I'm wrong. I be looking at this globe. I look up words that people try to use. They use words that hoping you don't try to understand it, like oligarchs. I keep hearing, America is sanctioning Russian oligarchs. Well, what's that? Business leaders that has political influence. I was like, oh, okay. So I guess that's like Judge Thomas's wife, who's at the January 6th. She was standing by a Confederate flag. I'm like, is Mr. Clarence blind? You know, like on Dave Chappelle, remember it was the black dude, he was blind and he was a KKK member. And then when he found out that he was black, he divorced his wife for being a nigger lover. It's just so preposterous. Cameron, the attorney general down there in Kentucky, you sit up there and lie to the whole public about that. It's all in the hands of the special selected jury. But you didn't tell us Americans how you suppressed the evidence and told us you weren't. And these are black guys. I'm not calling out blacks because I got more trust in some of my white brothers than some of these blacks. I got some trust in these Latinos and some of these so-called, I can't respect you, Mr. Clarence Thomas, when your wife is running all around and I thought you supposed to be where you were neutral to stuff. It seems a little biased. And 70 million people calling you out. I think you need to either turn it in. You did a nice run. It's a shame you was the only person who's decided that former President Trump shouldn't turn his stuff, and everybody else decided except you. Why? Because your wife works along with them? Is that what it is, sir? Tell me something. When the mayor of New York won't even lift the COVID ban, so my man Kyrie Irving, who I'm not a Nets fan, can play ball. It's stupid. Oh, but the people in the audience, they can come without a mask, and some of them ain't been go as long as you got past your fever and all that. But this, the last shall be first, and the first shall be last. I know a lot of people, it seems it's so chaotic and gets complicated out here. But the race is not to those who is fast, swift, or strong, but to those who endures to the end. Our military, it doesn't mean subject yourself to an ending before date. You're here for a purpose. You're here for a reason, not just to be a military. It's something that you're calling on, but it's not for you to take your life. I'm more concerned with being cool with the military of the U.S. than any of them politicians. Because when it comes down to who's going to protect them, well, ain't none of them Jim Dandy cats going to do anything for you. They worried about them votes. I told Richard King we should let him run as a president, and the general people get behind him. I think that we all do a national poll of getting rid of Congress, and then everybody has a someone to talk about. And on how everybody wants to be in control. Look, we got enough room to hear from the 3%ers. We got enough room to hear from the Proud Boys. We got enough room to hear from the Black Lives Matters Corporation, which I'm not involved in, because I believe all lives matter. It's just that Black Lives Matters too. I think that that's what, I'm not into the corporation part, but they had to have some delegates. We had to have some delegates from the rednecks. We got to have some delegates from, and not the ones who are lawyers and can talk where you and I don't understand it. That's why when the Declaration of Independence was wrote for that era, and it carried it carried a long time. Leave it in the National Museum. Let's create a new one because this government has failed us. These charters need to be reclaimed. We need to redo charters. Even the police is confused. Some of them is just sadistic. They don't care if they shoot. Oh, well, as long as they can get by off the line of duty. Oh, well. I got a report even where a guy, America, has been giving this guy. I was like, who is this guy? I want to know, who is this guy? Someone to explain to me who this guy is, please. I would like someone to explain to me, why are we giving this guy I must bring him up. Somebody explain this one to me. Who is this guy? Why are we giving this dude Pompeo $2 million a month why are we paying $2 million a month to protect this cat? This is tax dollars. And hey man, do you know $1 million a month can do some stuff in the neighborhoods? They always try to take me off. We pay him, we're paying this man $2 million a month. I don't know who he is. I didn't want to look it up because I'm like figuring out, why are we spending so much money? So we giving Ukraine $500 million for military aid and stuff. What they do with the money? How can a 40-mile convoy be coming down all in your area and you don't have no type of planes or anything to shoot that thing down, to shoot at that, and all the money we giving you? I ask you, like what my mother used to say when I was a kid, what you doing with your money? Government, U.S. government, where's the transparency, man? You got me and my neighbors fighting over each other over crumbs. You got these old senators that should have they should have been counseled from being in their chair since the last run of Leave It to Beaver or the Andy Griffith Show ended. I don't want to hear about how it was in the 1950s and the 60s and the 70s. I want to know about the 2022. I need to know the now. Dean said Dean said it's not the fact that the Constitution is outdated. It actually says that if our government becomes tyrannical, it's our duty to replace it. I just said that. I'm paraphrasing, but it's in there. We remove the tyrannical government, institute our own government, and we can keep the original founding document. I'm saying that. We keep it in a charter magazine. But the second paragraph of the Declaration or the Constitution states, if this government fails you, we, the people, have a right to expel that government to create a new one that works for us. This is not working. Republicans, Democrats sound like Crips and Bloods fighting, man. They're like, you the blue or you? Somebody came up there, are you red? What? I'm like, what set you from, Holmes? Oh, are you a Democrat? Man, get on with that, man, because I ain't into that. I'm an American. What was these people supposed to obtain if they went over there? Oh, we're going to keep Trump in, and he's going to run, and oh, you're just going to make. My brother Big Hank, y'all pray for him. Make sure it wasn't an emergency. Only time when he missed the show is that it's a real emergency, sometimes within his family or in the church. I want y'all to pray for each other. Man, pray for yourself and pray for each other, man. Everything that people have talked about, talking about when God comes back and this and that and hey, the truth will be revealed. And it says that there's going to be no hiding place. You can run into the bunkers. You can run behind a big rock and mountains. They going to turn and tell you, hey, there's no hiding place. You can watch all the Left Behind movies and Gold and all that, but if you don't get your own personal self right, because I'm going to let you know, if you rely upon another man to help you get to heaven without going to the source who's telling you what to do, you can't stand before God and be like, well, my neighbor Jim and them, they was doing, you seen what happened to that dude who should have kept his butt at home in the Aubrey case and tried to lie, saying, hey, you got just what you deserved. If some blacks killed whites, they get what they deserve. I'm not into innocent people like Reggie Green, where the governor and all them know that this man was killed. I'm not into that. That's murder. Not into that. They said a set of instructions from 1930 still works today. Well, Dean, there's a problem with it a little bit because of these charters. You know, where the police can drive through black neighborhoods and accost different ones. Right now, there's something in Kansas City, Kansas, where these retired police for over 30 years was actually raping and killing black women and then putting it on the black men to be in prison, and they was innocent. Hey, man, I'm just want to be where instead of me talking about it, I want to be about it. I ask each one of y'all to think about your own personal self. Like Dean said, you know, so hard to be good and stuff. Sometimes we're going to have to be able to rely upon that and be able to be bold. Stand up for the truth. Stop being punk asses and stuff where just because this group said, I'm going to go with them knowing that's against your moral concepts. I said, I wish if Richard King could run for president and stuff, I know he'll be neutral unless he it gets in his head. But anybody could be a politician, something. It starts at your home. Then it goes into your neighborhood and so on and so on. Be a doer. Stop being a talker. I can't stand before I get off, I can't stand when people be coming up to me and want to tell me what the problems is like we don't know. Talk to me about solutions. This is what I want. Talk to me about solutions. I don't want to hear all this. I don't want to hear, well, we're going to walk around heaven. I know this, but we got work to do. Keep looking up in the sky, talking about waiting for Jesus to come back and breaking yourself, then finally wonder why you so turmoil and everything, man. Hey, God bless everybody, man. I'm Roy Anthony. Thank you for turning in. Roy Anthony Show.
Every Tuesday and every Thursday. Y'all
Hey,
tap in.
This thing on? Can you hear me?
Roy
Is anybody
Anthony
out
Show
there?
is the spot to be, baby.
Hey, tune in.
It's the hottest show, homie, on the West Coast. The Roy Anthony Show. It's the hottest show, homie, on the West Coast. The Roy Anthony Show. It's the hottest show, homie, on the West